I've never asked this of somebody who is living with aphasia. Does your brain go faster than your mouth, or do they go at the same pace?
I my brain works much faster than my mouth.
Ah,
Yeah, because I have my full cognition, and it's I tell people that there used to be a direct path between my brain and my mouth, and now that path is worn. It's covered by weeds, and so
ah,
I have to meander about to find the words, and sometimes it gets lost. But I could take in everything and think about. I could formulate answers in my head, but it's sometimes difficult to get the words out.
yeah. You know that path that's covered by weeds? That's an interesting representation, analogy, if you may, if I may, of the path to your mouth, to the words, like covered by weeds. Are they tall weeds? Are they short weeds? Like what kind of weeds are they?
Some days it's a little more clear, especially if I'm talking about someone in a casual way, and it's about something that I've rehearsed. It's not there, and other times it's very tall weeds, and I have to meander about and to try to find the way down.
Do you have a way to easily make the weeds separate? You know, like maybe like a Moses kind of separating the sea to allow people to walk through. Like, is there like a special thing that would be great if you had to just kind of make the weeds move out of the way and allow you to pass a little bit easier?
I think the only thing that I could do is pause and think about what I want to say.
Yeah,
Um, but that's that's not always possible, especially in a group conversation.
yeah,
Because if I pause, people would think that that's their invitation to speak over me.
yeah.
And yeah,
If you,
so,
what I was asking, I get that, but let's play with this analogy. I'm just curious about this analogy. Say if you were in your yard, in your backyard of your house, and the weeds were that long, and then you had the opportunity to go in there and tend to the yard and get the weeds sorted. Which tool would you use to make a path between the front and the back of the house? How would you get the weeds out of your way so that you could make that path easier?
well, if you're talking about actual weeds, I
Yeah,
would use a weed whacker or a scythe or you know my power mower.
yeah,
But it's difficult for me to take those tools, those um, theoretical tools, and clear a pathway to my mouth. So
because
because my that part of the brain was damaged, and and the brain is very resilient, and so it forms new pathways. And so the only thing that I think I could do is practice. And I gave a keynote speech a couple years ago at our big fundraiser for MinCan,
mm,
and I had to practice that speech over and over and over so that it became rote.
yeah,
And that's the only thing, But
if the weeds were less tall, that might help as well, though.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe they could
If
be tall. maybe we can make the weeds a little less tall just to kind of make the path more obvious, even though there's a little bit of damage there, so that you can find the path around and create new connections to the new path. And then as you go to continue talking, moving forward into the future, you're just noticing that, oh, the weeds are a little bit shorter and I can go around
Yeah.
the damaged part and I can see a new path. And then even though it's a path that hasn't been well traveled yet, it will eventually connect up and it'll be a little quicker, and there'll be less need for pauses later on though down the track, and there may even be less need for rote learning. It might just kind of become a different style of learning, that next level learning. What is that actually? If you're not doing rote learning when you're speaking, what's the next level of learning? Is there one?
Um, well, I think just the fact that I'm participating in the communication groups where we we never know what questions are going to be asked, and that helps a lot. And it's interesting because my wife, when she comes home from work, she could ask me, "What's another word for this?" And I could come up with 10 different words.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me to convey um, messages. You know, um, it's hard for me to talk about things that I've experienced, and I can't get the experience to come out in words that are adequate.
Yeah. Yeah. It completely makes sense. I mean, pathways change in the brain. The retraining is a skill and a task, and it takes time and things happen. And then there are either metaphorical obstacles. For some people, there are mindset obstacles. For some people, there are emotional obstacles. There's a number of obstacles. And then I suppose the thing about this conversation, which is great, is that you seem to get to the obstacle and you seem to find a way around it. It seems to be okay for you to get there, even though perhaps it might be frustrating for a moment or at that time. But it seems like the recovery has continued to happen and you have more and more fluent speech now than you've had previously, and that sort of seems to continue to improve. Is that what you've noticed about your speech?
Yes, yes, and other people have mentioned that if if I didn't tell them I had aphasia, that they they wouldn't know that I had difficulty speaking.
Wow,
Um,
that's interesting.
yeah, um, and there are some members of our group that have very severe aphasia, and um, and others who have moderate to mild aphasia, and that's where I would classify myself.
Yeah, understand. Other than the aphasia, whoop, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, um, I when I first came out of my coma, I had severe aphasia, and it's improved with time and practice.
Yeah, yep. And I love that you put yourself in challenging situations where speech is necessary, a boardroom, and all the different other places that you find yourself. That would help in recovery, I think. It would really help get more practice in different environments, at least, and give you opportunities to learn how to regulate your excitement or your emotions or whatever it is that sometimes you need to overcome to get to that word to come out properly. That's